Hi, I'm Kelly Sue, and this is your Intuitive Cocktail for April 10th, 2025. So, the Sun is in Aries at 21 degrees, Chiron is in Aries at 22 degrees, and those are conjunct. So, let's just talk for a second, just a quick second about that, because Aries rules the head, the face, it's like that, it also is, that take charge kind of energy. And with Chiron at 22 degrees Aries, conjunct that Sun, there's like, it's kind of triggering that need to kind of hesitate, to pull back, to question yourself. Like, am I, whatever kinds of things are coming up are probably things that were issues that came up, before. And so they're just here so you can look at them again. And to that end, we've got we've got Neptune at 0 degrees of Aries, which is like reboot everything. So it's almost like this feeling of like, let's clear the decks. Let's get rid of everything and start fresh. Because whatever we have right now, just nothing's working. It feels really weird. In addition to that, we've got the moon at 27 degrees Virgo, which is directly opposite the Mercury in Pisces. So Virgo, Pisces are opposites, and they also share similar traits, but one's the inversion of the other. So, Pisces may see everything, and they probably do see everything on a deeper intuitive level, and they're seeing the same things as Virgo, but whereas Virgo might tell you, Pisces is going to keep they're just going to keep it inside and make a note about it, possibly write a film about it later. Film at 11. Because honestly, there is no one better at getting revenge than a Pisces for something that you did 30 years ago that pissed them off. Trust me, they will eventually get even with you, and it will suck. Because you won't see it coming, because they are such gentle, well, they come off as gentle, but they're really not gentle. They're gentle in the way that water is gentle, in that if you're coming at it up close in the right way, a warm bath feels great. If you're diving off of a cliff and you do a belly flop, it can really hurt you. And also, water erodes everything over time, so remember that. And Neptune. So anyway, Virgos will punish you, but it will more likely happen right away, and they'll just tell you, and it might feel like criticism, but at the same time, it feels better than like feeling like something's off, and then 20 years later, they sleep with your best friend or something really weird. And then we've got, Mars at 27 degrees Cancer. So we've got a lot of stuff going on that's sort of like home stuff. We've got, Uranus at 25 degrees Taurus. That's a square. So we've got some squares. And then we've got this like Jupiter expansiveness of communication. So expanding, like writing, thinking, like, it's Jupiter rules philosophy and philosophers, but Pisces is the opposite of Sagittarius, but as I was mentioning, the opposites have a lot in common with each other, and Geminis are very good at discourse and writing and discussing things, and they're very intuitive in a way of how to communicate, how to connect with a lot of different people of all different ages. So they're really great to have on your team. If you have a Gemini on your team, you're going to have a lot of opportunities to connect with a lot of different people if you're doing communications kind of stuff with them. Okay, so the other thing that we have going on right now is we've got, I'll just say it like, okay, so this is endings, death, rebirth, and sometimes it is literal, sometimes it is You know, sometimes it's a ending of a situation. You know, like if you're single and you get married, that's, well, hopefully death to your single life, depending on what kind of person you are. All bets are off these days. And then, you know, we've also got Six of Wands reversed. So this could be the end of like a show or a series or something, or this could be the end of, you know, if this is you and you're seeing this, you know, there may be something that you kind of wanted to keep things under wraps, but now it's all out in the open and everyone knows. And then this is like new beginning. So as I was saying, new beginnings, clear thought. It's kind of like astrologically what I was mentioning about clearing the decks. Just kind of like, you know, Neptune and Aries wants to reboot the consciousness. They want everyone to kind of like think in a different way, move in a different way, move in a different direction. But it's also very idealistic because Aries they're very clear about their intentions. Usually what you see is what you get with an Aries. And so they don't really dig a lot of nonsense and double talk. And they're very, you know, it's like, let's get things done. So it's kind of a get things done kind of energy. But at the same time with, you know, with Neptune at 0 degrees, it's like Neptune in and of itself is very psychic, intuitive, mystical. It's connecting with the realms that rule music and creativity and film, and there is a certain I don't want to say murkiness. It's not that. It's like some people say that it's muddy and it's confusing, but that isn't what it is. It's the fact that like you're dealing with other realms. So it's sort of like this need to connect with something higher, and of course some people go lower, but it's like this, you know, wanting to kind of a psychic reboot, you know, like how are we connected? How does this make sense? What's good for everyone? How do we come together ideologically as a society? You know, what does being a visionary truly mean? If, you know, is it what's good for the collective? Is it good for the individual? It's kind of like all of those things. So it's a lot of questions. We've also got the sun, you know, so things that have been kept swept under the rug are coming to light now. There's a lot of things that you know, I mentioned, I think yesterday, like it's kind of like there was this thing of like, ha 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 ha, what am I doing? What am I doing? Ha ha ha. This kind of like game playing that goes on, and that's kind of not happening right now. Everyone's like, nope, it's the end of whatever kind of like dog and pony show was happening. And this might mean that, yeah, you're finding out that someone hasn't kept up their side of the agreement. Someone has been, you know, underhanded or shady, and your fire is the Lovers. So but it's reversed, so it's kind of like, and the Lovers is not just about romantic love, it's about partnerships, and it's like kind of like releasing some of the partnerships or some of the holds that you've had or that other people have had on you kind of back into the wild, you know. Maybe you know, sometimes things just kind of like time out. Sometimes you work on a project, the project comes to an end, and there is that sadness, like if you've ever been in a play and the play is over, or a movie is over, and there's this like feeling of like you're happy that it, you know, it was a good, that for the experience, but then there's this kind of like sadness that comes over this nostalgia of like, because it's ended and you've made all these great friends and you're used to seeing everyone every day and you had a place to be and a place to go, and then you're starting from scratch again, and it's kind of like a sort of a painful part of the process. You know, anytime you work on something and then it ends, it's like there's this part where you're happy but you're not happy, you know, and it's this nostalgic feeling, and I think that's kind of what we have just kind of as a collective. And then there's also this just like back into the fray, back into like the, you know, that kind of like competition, but not competition. A lot of times when I see this, it's in people's own brains. You know, it's their own perception that they're fighting against, because or it's the kind of person where some people are literally like, when they see that their friend has met someone wonderful, they're like, well, when's it going to be my turn? You know, and probably never, because you have that attitude, because you can't even appreciate anyone else ever being happy. And so that's what you're gonna, so think about what you're putting out there. And also, Queen of Cups, I think every single woman that I know is feeling a lot more intuitive these days than normal. So connect with your friends, check in on them, make sure that everyone's okay, and I'm sending everyone lots of love and light. And